Graduation diploma. Wonderful. A couple of congratulations too before I move on. Congratulations and best wishes to retiring staff, Mrs. Pitts, Mr. O'Brien, Mr. Stewart, and Mr. Savage. Wishing you all the best for a happy and long retirement, and believe me, there's no life like it, so enjoy. Congratulations to Mr. O'Toole and Mr. Francis for finishing their first year at NRHS. From what I hear, I stand corrected, almost finishing. Just some trivia before I get started in my message. As principal of Northumberland, I hired Mr. O'Toole for his first teaching assignment after he graduated from university. So he's found his way around and found his way back to NRHS. Also hired Mr. Bordway when he left Stellarton High to come to Northumberland. And my trivia for Mr. Francis is I worked with Mr. Francis's father when I started teaching in Westville back in 1980. So that's some trivia. I recall the first graduation class, and as the graduates were walking in and parading down in their black robes and red and white sashes. It's a tremendous view when you're sitting here on the stage watching them come down the hall. And it just brought back memories of 2004, the first graduating class. And at that time there were over 300 graduates from Northumberland. And I recall one funny story. We were standing lining up, the graduates were lining up, but we only had half the number of red and white sashes. Half of the graduates had them and half didn't. So we were trying to make a decision. Do we go with them? Do we don't go with them? What do we do with them? But anyway, somebody put on some quick work, and the rest of the sashes came, and we were able to have graduation in the right colors, and it was fantastic, just like it was this evening. I'm honored to be here this evening to address you, the graduating class of 2015, and help share in this wonderful celebration. I feel right at home here, and I always have, coming back to Northumberland. It's actually the place I literally built, or I helped to build from the ground up, and really consider it my baby. So spent many hours and weeks in preparation and here at the school in those early days, so I feel right at home. As I pondered about the message to deliver to the graduating class 2015, I had a chance to speak to a number of former graduates of Northumberland and Westville. I asked them about their graduation and the graduation address, their guest speaker. I asked them, can you tell me, remember what the graduation guest speaker talked about? What was the message? And amazing, or maybe it's not amazing, they all had the same answer. I don't remember the message. I don't remember who it was. My wife told me before I came this evening, now don't be too philosophical. Don't be too long-winded. I've been known to be both, especially those staff who are still here from the early days. Mr. O'Toole told me to have the message to be 5 to 10 minutes maximum. Don't take any longer. So he put me in a very tough situation. So I asked for some help. Colin McKenzie's here somewhere. And I said, Colin, when I start my message and I get to 10 minutes, stand up, and I'll know it's time to end my message. How many of you have ever walked through a graveyard? I bet all of you have, and you stop to look at a headstone, and you look at the message on the headstone, and you read it. And you read the person's name, and you read the date, the first date, the date they were born, and you read the last date, the date of their death. And sometimes there's message below, beloved husband, father, or maybe some inscriptions on it. And that's just about what you see. Most people see when they look. How many people even notice that little dash that's in the middle between the birth and the death, that little dash? I was reading a book one time by a Dr. Drubin, and he called this the dash of life. Everything that you accomplish, every event, every organization, everything that you do is contained in that dash. So everything that you do, every organization, every event, every award, tonight your graduation diploma adds to that dash. This is an important part of your life. The dash describes who you are and what you have accomplished. As I continue with this message, I want you to remember something you can remember. Somebody asks you years from now, what did your guest speaker talk about? You say, oh yeah, he talked about the dash of life. I don't remember who he was, but he talked about this dash of life. Maybe you helped Miss McDonald in a catering job this year, part of your dash of life. Maybe you helped in the retail store. Maybe you played in the band, or you did a great work of art. Maybe you were part of the musical presentation. Maybe a community organization like 4-H or Rotary Interact. Maybe you were a member of an athletic team and you were a captain or assistant captain. You were one of the leaders. Maybe you were heavily involved in the Students' Council, the two presidents who were here. Maybe you had an executive position. I hear also that Northumberland is still very active in the community in fundraising. Maybe you participated in the coldest night of the year or the Walk for Autism. I saw that a number of Nighthawks at the Relay for Life, and I got to introduce myself back again to Squawk. So think about all of these things that are an important part of your life that help to identify you and your dash. Tonight, I'm wearing my NRHS badge back from 2006. And it says on the back, the head hawk. I'm not a visitor, I'm NRHS first principal. I'm very proud of that because no one else can be the first principal. Sorry, Mr. O'Toole, you can't be the first. This is part of my dash. There was something funny behind it. I began my journey at NRHS even before the sods were turned. There were many committees, site committees, selection. I remember coming to this site when it was all trees. And saying, can you picture a school being in this site? At that time I couldn't, but it looks like it belongs here. Steering team and enhancement committees, staffing, named the school. We didn't have a name in those days. School colors, school mascot, all of those things in those early days. And believe it or not, the government didn't want to build a superior school like we have here. Their plans were for an inferior school. Just a little story. I got a chance to tour schools in Nova Scotia, schools in Ontario, new schools. What do they have that our students deserve to have in Pictou County? So after that tour, sat down and said, I'm going to draw out a plan of a school that our students in Pictou County, in western Pictou County, deserve to attend. I wasn't very good at drafting. When I was in school, they called it industrial arts and drafting, and I wasn't very good at it. But anyway, I do this rough sketch of what a school would look like. You know, there were academic pods at the end. There were specialized areas like science in the middle. And in the center core was the theater, the cafeteria, the gymnasium, the guidance library was all in the center. This was in my rough sketch. I went to a meeting with the architects. These are professional WHW architects. And they laughed at my drawing. Anyway, they took it away, and I haven't seen it since, but I see it every day that I come in here. So that's a funny story back. One other one, I'd be a funny story about building Northumberland, or the building off it. They had provided me with a white hat so I could come in and, I guess, have access to the building and get a feel for as they were building it. And I came in one day and they were painting the cafeteria. And I looked at it and, that's not the color it's supposed to be. I looked at my draft copy and said, no, that's not the right color. And there were men up on the scaffolding painting, and I went over to them. I said, okay, stop. Don't paint anymore. That's the wrong color. I don't know who this guy is. He's got a hat on. He's got a suit. Looks like he knows what he's talking about. So they stopped. A few minutes later, I was escorted out of the building, never to get access again. And the color wasn't changed until we moved in. Anyways, funny story. Get back to my message. There was a vision for Northumberland. The vision was to be a comprehensive school designed to meet the educational needs of all the students who come to the building. To create this, one needs to develop values and principles of how one is to behave. thus the birth of SOAR: safety, opportunities, achievement, and respect. Although all of these are equally important, the dash of life focuses on opportunities and achievement. Opportunities for success includes a course selection of over 100 courses, programs such as CEP, IB, fine arts, athletics, technology, community partnerships, opportunities to participate in the community as a volunteer. This is what a comprehensive school is supposed to be. I was present a couple of weeks ago at the non-academic awards celebration and got to meet again the guest speaker, Ms. Marion McLeod, who's a former NRHS grad, and her message, I don't know if people were there, and you remember her message is get involved, get involved, get involved. And she credits Northumberland for a lot of the success that she has now because of that. Get involved. The opportunities are there, and it opened many doors for her. Another NRHS grad, I was watching, I think CBC or ATV, I don't know which newscast it was, but there was an interview with Emma Taylor, and Emma's a former NRH grad, an all-Canadian rugby player from the national champion St. FX team. And in her interview, she credits Northumberland as providing opportunities for her, open doors for her beyond high school. And give credit to my niece, Jessica, who graduated in the IB program here at Northumberland and has just recently graduated from Dalhousie with an industrial engineering degree. And she credits the opportunity at Northumberland for her success. One other graduate I want to mention is a young man who works in a local tire shop, graduated from Northumberland in automotive, and he basically is running the shop now, which is very nice to see. So I was in there with my RV getting some new tires so I could go on a trip this summer. And I had a torque wrench that I couldn't get to work properly, mainly because I didn't know how to get it to work properly. So I took it with me and I asked this young man if he could show me how this thing works properly. And the biggest smile came on his face. He says, "Here I am showing my principal something. You're learning from me." And he credited the opportunities at Northumberland for the doors being open. Brings me back to the dash of life. It's not what you take away from life that defines you. It's what you bring to it. So how does one improve his or her dash of life? Commit to personal improvement. Get rid of all those rotten bananas, those rotten things in your life, those things that stand in your way, those obstacles that hold you back and prevent you from reaching your potential. The journey that you take will have roadblocks, but it's those accomplishments that start to shape you. Believe in yourself. If you want to achieve something, you have to first believe that you can do it before you actually can. View things as opportunities and not challenges. If you view it as a challenge, many times that you don't succeed with that opportunity. If you look at it as an opportunity, this is an opportunity for me to get better, to accomplish something, I need to add to my dash of life. Make a plan to be successful. Volunteer and give back to your community. Focus on being happy. Start and finish each day with a smile. Remember, change happens. Anticipate a change. Adapt to the change. Make the change. Enjoy it. And get ready for the next change in your life. That message from a book, Mrs. Pitts will remember this, Who Moved My Cheese? And I'm always moving your cheese. Be positive and know your strengths. Know your strengths and weaknesses. Consider this. You're adding to your dash of life. You're always adding to it. And everything that you add to your dash of life, you put in your resume. I want you to consider this. You're applying for a job, and you get shortlisted for an interview. And in the world out there, as you get shortlisted, that tells you that you're qualified. But there's 9 other people who are qualified as well. They got shortlisted. What separates you from those 9 other candidates? That's what you got to think about. What separates you? In my career, I've interviewed hundreds and hundreds of teacher candidates. and all of them interview very well. And sometimes you can wow somebody in an interview, and that gets you that position. But in most cases, it doesn't happen that way. In many cases, it's what the interviewee, the committee, finds out about you through your dash of life, through all of those things that you accomplish, and through your reference checking, all of those people that you have encountered throughout your life. So basically, what you have done, what you have accomplished in the past, it helps to make up your dash of life. One other story, and then I'll give you a summary. Am I okay, Colin? Never forget my first job interview that I went to. It was in Yellowknife. And Sydney had mentioned that I worked in the bank in Nova Scotia. I didn't start out as an educator. I was working in the bank in Nova Scotia. And I was in Yellowknife with my wife, and she was working in the hospital, and I didn't have a job. And so walking down Franklin Avenue, you got a picture of Yellowknife. Franklin Avenue is the main street. And I walked by the Scotia Bank, and there was a sign in there, hiring. I didn't know anything about banking. Yeah, I had a bank account, but I really didn't know anything about banking. So I went in, applied for the job, got an interview. Throughout the interview process, they asked you all kinds of questions about banking, and I had to be honest, I didn't know very much. But the committee was able to, from my resume and from checking all of the things that I accomplished, they believed that I could do the job. So they hired me. One other thing, this was on a Friday. You picture this on a Friday. I'm in at the interviewing, and the person doing the interviewing asked me if I could play softball. Well, I knew that I could. I played on softball teams, and it was in my resume anyway. And she said, good, you start the work with the bank on Monday, but tomorrow we're playing softball against CIBC. Be at the field at 9 o'clock so that we can win. So I didn't know if it was my resume or my baseball playing that got me that first job. Anyway, but I'm sure it was what was in my resume, what I accomplished. So I encourage you to continue to take advantage of the opportunities you encounter. Remember that everything you do, every organization, every accomplishment will add to your... I didn't hear that. What will it add to? So years from now, when someone asks you that, what did you learn? From the address, you say, I learned that I will always be adding to my dash of life. Thank you very much for listening. Congratulations. Enjoy the evening.